If you were, as a human, just existing, you are numb to the things going on around you. You don't show a lot of emotion. You're closed off to people. You're going through the motions of life. You're just cruising through life. And before you know it, you're sitting there thinking, man, where did the last 10 years of my life go? Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the JS Show. I'm excited for you guys to be here. As always, I appreciate any support that you give me. I'm glad to know that my message is getting out there, even if it's not a ton of people. I know that people are hearing it, so thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and I hope you get tons of value out of it. And all I ask is that if you do get any value out of today's episode, just go ahead and make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to hear something on the show, go ahead and comment down and let me know, or let me know how I'm doing, good or bad. It's all good. I can learn from anything, so I appreciate your support. Now let's get going with the video. So if you couldn't tell from the title, we are going to be talking about living versus existing. A lot of people probably think it's the same thing, which I could easily get, because you think living, existing, okay, they're kind of interchangeable, which you wouldn't exactly be wrong, but there is a difference, and I want to explain that difference to you and kind of why you want to be more one than the other. So the difference is, well, the definition, so existing, the way that I see existing is like, there's a couch on the other side of the camera here. The couch is existing. It's not doing much. It's just there. And it's the same for life. If you were, as a human, as a husband, as a wife, as a mother, father, son, daughter, employee, whatever, if you were just existing, you are numb to the things going on around you. You don't show a lot of emotion. It comes and goes in waves. You're closed off to people. You don't share a whole lot. You don't talk a whole lot to people. You're going through the motions of life. You're just cruising through life. And before you know it, you're sitting there thinking, man, where did the last 10 years of my life go? 20 years of my life go? And I think about in my life, how many times I'm sitting there like, oh crap, where have the last couple years of my life gone? Like, what have I done in the last couple years that is memorable? And if I'm sitting there having to think about it, it's obviously nothing. And it's scary because I'm only 23 years old. Think about like people that are 40, 50, 60 years old that are sitting there having to really think about what they did in their life. Other than, okay, I got married, I had kids, I raised my kids, I worked at one job for 40 years or multiple jobs over the course of 40 years, and that's it. You don't have anything. It's like, this is when my life started. This is when I started living. A lot of people never actually live, and that is such a sad reality. I mean, how many times man, if you cannot sit there and say that you are living, I'm sorry, living, let's go ahead and do the definition of living. If you are truly living life, you are present in every area of your life. You were there emotionally, physically, for your kids, for your spouse, significant other. You were there at your job, doing your job and finding ways to improve it and go above and beyond. In your community, you were always looking for ways to improve it, to be able to reach the people that are having hard times and being able to cheer on the people that are having good times. You are actively making an impact in the world around you. Like, when I think about impact in the world around you, that doesn't mean that you are having to do some crazy thing, building this giant business, doing whatever. No. To make an impact, I kind of think of it as being known almost. Like, I think about how many people at work, like there's that guy that everybody knows at work. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, my dad is one of those guys. My dad is that guy that everybody knows at work. And it's funny because now that we work for the same company, it's even more so true. Like, there's people that come from other plants that are across the country that are like, oh, that's your dad, right? And it's like, yeah, yeah. But my dad is that guy. And that is something I can say about my dad. Is in the workplace, my dad, he makes an impact that is memorable. Like, places aren't the same after my dad leaves because he filled such a void and made such a big impact that when he leaves in better shape than when he got there. But it's hard because he made such a big impact that there's this giant void that a lot of people cannot fill. And that is what we should all set out to do, but not just in our job, but in every area of our life. We should be setting out that way people remember us. Because Alex Hormozy talks about how when the Queen passed away, everybody was talking about the Queen for a couple weeks. But I'd have to look to see how long it's been since her passing. But when was the last time you thought about the Queen? She was probably one of the wealthiest people in the world. Did so many things for people around the world. But when was the last time you thought about the Queen? A couple weeks after she died? So, here's the deal. You won't be remembered for what you did necessarily, but you will be remembered for what you represented. And if you were just existing, you won't be remembered at all. I mean, heck, people don't even know your name at your own job. And there's only 50 of you that work there. In reality, how many people can say that their spouse truly knows them? Like, you know them on a basis where you know what exactly went on in their day, what they're struggling with currently, how they're doing in different areas of their life. So many people in relationships are they're so close, but they're so distant from each other. Yeah, they spend a lot of time together. They are in the same vicinity a lot, but they don't even know exactly what is going on in each other's lives. And that's the deal. When you are living, you are getting the most out of every minute of life. Because if you're just existing, you're sitting there looking back, thinking, holy crap, I don't know what happened the last 30 years of my life. It just flew by. That's a term that we use. We use the term flew by so much. Like, man, this last year flew by. Man, these last 5 years have flown by so much. Man, this last decade has flown by. Stop letting stuff fly by and get stuff done. Value, treasure every single moment. I've got 3 questions that will help you determine if you are living or existing, which you're sitting there right now. Deep down, you probably know whether you were living or existing. You feel it. Because, I mean, I've been at different points in my life where I can tell you, yeah, I was just existing. Or, yeah, I was living. Like, right now, I'm living. I'm living it up right now. And I plan to live it up forever now. But, so here are the 3 questions. Question number 1. Are you constantly just taking from society? Or are you giving and providing value to society outside of the normal realm? Like, outside of your job. Yeah, you have to go to your job to get a paycheck. You have to do that. But what are you providing value outside of that? Because if you're not, you're just existing. If you are, you're living. And what I mean by this, well, it could be anything. It could be volunteering at a local food pantry. It could be doing a blood donation. It could be just anything. Volunteering at a church. It's basically, so the way that it works, if you're providing value, you were willing to do it without receiving pay. Yeah, some of this stuff you might get paid for. You might get a little compensation for. But if you didn't get compensation for it, you would still do it because you were providing value and you love to provide value and you love living. But if you're just existing, you're not going to go do that because there's no point. You don't see any value in it for yourself. And that's the deal. That's what truly separates living versus existing. Existing, you are just sucking everything that you can from the world and just keeping it all for yourself. But if you're living, it's constantly going back and forth. It's like, what is that? It's like, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like Brick Breaker or something on like the old BlackBerry phones. But you know, when you shoot the ball and it ricochets off one of the bricks and then comes back and you have to keep hitting it back and forth. But as you hit it back and forth, it gets faster and faster. And that's how it works when you're living. When you start providing value outside of your normal realm, you start receiving value back. And it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And you start getting more and more and more, faster and faster. And so that alone should make you want to be living instead of existing. But question number 2 is, are you an asset or are you a liability? And you know what you are. Even in a workspace, if you go to work and you are doing the minimum amount required to keep your job, you're really a liability because you are hurting the culture. But if you're going to work and giving it your 110% effort every single day, going above and beyond, you're an asset. And guess what? People pay more for assets. It may not be immediate. It may take a few years, but you will get rewarded for your efforts. And if you don't, after a reasonable amount of time, go find somebody who will reward you and pay you for your value. Because when you are an asset and you go and you show somebody you're an asset, if they don't realize that you're an asset and see your true value, go to somebody else, find somebody else who's going to realize that you are an asset and you provide value. The term job security has made more people depressed and hate their life than I think any other term in the professional world. Yeah, you may have a job secured for your life, but you hate going to work every single day. You dread it. You dread Monday before the Friday is even over. And here's the deal. If you want to live a long, happy, healthy life, you need to quit worrying about job security and worry about being valued as the asset that you are capable of being. And here's the deal. And the nice thing about this stuff is you can switch, you can change. If you're a liability right now, guess what? It's super easy to change. Because guess what? You may not have the skill. Yeah. Can't always control the skills that you have, the skill level that you have. But skills are learned. So guess what you can control? You can control your effort. If you're not giving it your full effort, your value is never going to be perceived because what effort does, whether it's low effort or high effort magnifies the skills that you have. So if you're somebody that has a super high level skill set, but you provide or you put forth very little effort, it's going to mask that high level skill set. But if you're somebody who has an average skill set and puts forth above average to top performing effort, that is going to make your skills look even better because you are getting more done just because solely based off of your effort. So become an asset. If you are not, if you're a liability, you need to become an asset. And question number 3 is, are you selfish or are you unselfish? It doesn't need much explaining. You know whether you're selfish or unselfish. If you really want to break it down, you could break it down into a million different ways. There's good selfish and bad selfish. And really, it's not selfish either. Because telling your friends that you are not going to go out and drink at the bar all night long, That's technically, they would see you as being selfish. But really, you're being unselfish because you're thinking about your family that is going to have to come, that you're going to go home with, and they're going to have to deal with your crap the next day after you went out and drank forever. And whether you get angry, whatever, they're going to have to deal with it. But by making the decision to stay home, not go drinking, guess what? You were unselfish. You were thinking of your family. And that's probably a poor example of it. But there's so many. You know if you're being selfish or unselfish. These all kind of go together. I mean, they do. You could really just ask yourself if you're selfish or unselfish, and that tells you whether you're living or existing. Hey guys, I hope you were enjoying this episode of the JS Show. If you were getting any value from this episode, all I ask is that you please subscribe to the show. Make sure you like the video. Let me know any improvements you think I should make, and then go out and share this with all your friends. I'm trying to grow my channel, grow my following as I go along in my journey as an entrepreneur, and just trying to provide value to those all across the world. So I would appreciate it if you'd subscribe and share this video, and go make sure you follow all my social medias and share those with your friends as well. But thank you guys for watching. Let's get back to the action. So now that you figured out that if you are living or existing, if you truly believe that you are living, great. Continue what you're doing, continue growing. But this is going to be more so for the existing. But if you're living, I want you to listen to this also, because you may not be doing all this, so it'll help you grow even more. To be able to go from existing to living, the first thing that you have to do is identify and eliminate your vices. Vices could be anything from alcohol, could be drugs, could be pornography, could be just relationships. Some people are addicted to relationships. It could be TV, it could be video games. I could go on and on about what it could be, but it's a joke, but everybody always talks about the first step to solving your problems is admitting that you have one. And it's true. If you don't ever identify and confront your problems, your vices right there, face to face, you'll never be able to eliminate them and move on and grow from it. And so what you have to do, very first thing you have to do to go from existing to living, is you have to identify and then eliminate vices. Because what happens when you eliminate them is you free up time and you begin to have a clear mind. What you can do, see what your vices are. Go for about a week, and throughout that week, every day, write down keep a time journal of what you're doing and how much time you spend doing it. You'll find out what your vices are real quick. For a lot of people, it's probably TV. A lot of people, probably alcohol. And what you'll see is when you eliminate those things and that time frees up, that's when you feel like time slows down for you. Your time isn't flying by, because it's so easy, especially now, because a lot of reality TV shows, not even reality, just TV shows in general right now, a lot of them are an hour long. And so you think, you come home, you get home at 5 o'clock, and let's say you go to bed between 10 and 11. You come home at 5 o'clock, dinner takes about an hour, so you're at 6 o'clock. And then you sit down and watch 2-3 episodes of your favorite show. Before you know it, you're in bed, you're at 9-10 o'clock. And your evening's gone, and you start over and do it all again the next day. So when you figure out where your time is going, that will help clear your mind. It'll free up the time to be able to think and be able to do stuff. Do the stuff that makes you become living. And so the second thing that you have to do to go from existing to living is you have to develop a growth mindset. But not just in one area of your life. You have to develop a growth mindset in all areas of your life, because yeah, you can have a growth mindset when it comes to your job, great, but if you don't have a growth mindset when it comes to your relationships with your family, it's gonna suffer. So you have to grow, you have to level up in every area of your life at the same time. You can't get unbalanced, because when you become unbalanced, that is when anxiety, depression starts to creep in, and you become stuck. And the thing is, when you start to level up all areas of your life, personal excellence is what attracts great things. The more you level up, the more great things that are going to come your way. And they'll come your way without you even realizing that you were working for it. Just because when you level up, stuff becomes easier. And it becomes easier to make yourself do the hard stuff. So hard stuff feels like it's easier, but it's actually not. But because you've leveled up your mindset and your mentality, it feels so much easier. And then the third thing that you have to do to go from existing to living is you have to have zero compromise mentality. When those hard things do come, you can't compromise. Like, you do it and you do it all the way, zero compromise. Because if you compromise even just a little bit, that means you're letting compromise into your life, which means if you let compromise into this area of your life, that means you're going to allow compromise into this area of your life. And that compromise, it's like a virus. It spreads and then it grows. And before you know it, everything you've worked so hard for, because you compromise just a little bit, it's deteriorated so much. And then the fourth thing that you have to do to go from existing to living is you have to be intentional. You can't be passive about this whatsoever. You have to be all in, 100%, like I said in the last point. Because what happens is when you become passive, when you try to do things in a passive manner, that you just end up getting put back on cruise control. Because if you're not being intentional about doing stuff every day, it doesn't work. There are tasks that you will have to do every single day. No matter what you're doing, whether you're building a business, whether you're trying to build relationships, whatever, there are tasks that have to be done daily that they just straight up suck. But they're required. And so that will never become passive. You have to do those. If you want to succeed, you have to do those tasks. And if you become passive, you will have days where you just be like, I really don't feel like doing those this day. And that's when you put your life back on cruise control and you go back to existing. If you want to be living, you have to be intentional about it. That's the thing. Whether you are spiritual or not, God gave us free will. It's our choice how we want to live our life, what we want to do with our life. And the thing is, though, what you put into life is what you'll get out of it. It's as simple as that. You put stuff in, you will get stuff back. If you don't put anything in, you're not going to get anything out. So many people right now, I don't know if it's just the state of the world that we live in today, but so many people are content with and just totally fine with just existing and just getting through life. They're just trying to get by. And I understand times are tough right now. Gas prices are high, groceries are high, housing isn't cheap, and you pay taxes out the wazoo. Life sucks right now. It sucks. The state that we are in currently, it's not good. It's not fun. But you have a choice that you can make. You can make the most out of what's going on, or you can just curl up in a ball in the corner and then just cruise through life and get by, fight for the next day, and that's it. So the choice is yours. And I advise you to choose wisely. It breaks down pretty simple. You can either live a numb, boring life and end up wondering where your life went, or you can take your life off of cruise control and stomp on the gas and never let off. The decision is yours ultimately, and it has to be either one or the other. There's no in between with this. You can't be half in, half out. You have to be all in or all out. Be the best version of yourself and fulfill the God-given purposes in your life. Everybody has a purpose in their life. You have a purpose. You just got to go out and find it. You got to go from existing to living and make an impact in the world around you. You have all the tools necessary to do it. It doesn't take a huge following. It doesn't take driving a Lambo. It doesn't take any of this crazy stuff that these people do. All you need is your mind and your heart. And then all you have to do is you have to go out and take action. That's all you have to do. That's all you need. And you can do it. Everybody can do it. So make the decision. Either be all in, all out. But I advise you, be all in. Live your life. quit letting life pass you by, because one day you'll regret it. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. I appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate your engagement. If you have any questions, if you want to see any specific topics talked about on the show, comment it down below, send me a DM on social media, any of that. But just remember, success takes work, work takes time, and time is limited. Go out and get what you want. Go out and make an impact on this world. You got this. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.